Okay, it's 1 minute after. Nishant, do you think we ought to go ahead and get started?
Yes, I've started the recording. I think we should start.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining and welcome to our webinar on IoT Smart Edge application creation and Smart Edge management. In this webinar, we're going to share with you how our application enablement platform simplifies and accelerates the creation of smart edge solutions with distributed cloud and smart edge intelligence. So I'm Lee House, the CEO of IoT 83, and I have with me today our co-founder and CTO Deep Nair, our VP of Engineering Jayant Puri, and our Director of Sales Nishant Puri. Um, so I will kick things off and then pass the ball to Jayant for our Smart Edge intelligence demonstration. For those of you who have not joined one of our webinars previously, I'm going to give a brief introduction to IoT 83 and our application enablement platform. The whole premise of our IoT application enablement platform is to transform the industrial IoT value chain process. Because of the diversity of IoT and the underlying complexity, building with an application enablement platform dramatically reduces the cost, risk, and time to market that it takes to build powerful and sophisticated IoT solutions. Our AEP is built around our proven elastic IoT core. We've got a lot of webinars on that you can review, as well as a set of application creation studios that make it far easier to build powerful applications using no code and low code methodologies. And finally, all of this is supported with DevOps, scalability, and cost management tools for the always on reliability that's needed in IoT. Our system is proven to 65 million devices already, so you can leverage this platform for fast application creation with a great deal of confidence. If we look at the alternatives between application enablement platforms and sort of the traditional way of building these solutions using IoT as a service, there's a big discrepancy between the value that is created versus the cost that is required to build these things. Even with IoT as a service, you have to leverage a plethora of tools and services and build your application, build your stack, and then build your application, making this cost value out of whack, very costly in all aspects. Leveraging an AEP solution, all of the underlying components of the platform are already integrated and proven, and you also get all of the application enablement tool suites and the low code and no code methodologies so that the value and cost equation makes sense. It's highly efficient in all aspects. And this applies across multiple vertical markets. These design patterns that we've uncovered that we leverage in our low code and no code methodologies for application creation are easily applicable across telecommunications, industry 4.0, transport, utilities, manufacturing, all sorts of different applications for a significant reduction in total cost of ownership and a significant increase in the acceleration. But one of the things as we move more towards the subject of the webinar at hand, there's a conundrum in the industry where folks ask, should I be building cloud-based or edge-based intelligence? Well, the answer is both. Combining the power of smart cloud and smart edge intelligent devices is essential. And here's just a couple of reasons why. Why we need cloud IoT. It's cost efficient for big data analytics. Connecting to multiple systems and users is essential for a successful IoT program. There are much faster development environments available in the cloud, particularly with the application enablement platforms. And then the scalability for multiple devices and systems is essential, and you need global management of all of your assets. There's a lot more reasons, but this is just a few. Forgive this error. This should be why we need smart edge intelligence. So this is to be able to monitor systems at the source. So there could be latency issues. There's a lower probability of missing events due to connectivity issues. Bandwidth management. You really only want to connect when there's something meaningful to transport. And so, particularly in bandwidth constrained environments, this is particularly important. And then utilization of the edge CPU resources. There's a lot of power in these devices, and a lot of compute can be done that actually offloads the resources required in the cloud. And then you can also have more powerful and simpler integration of multiple sensors and devices. So the bottom line is optimized IoT solutions will enable coordinated cloud and smart edge solutions. But this is not necessarily as easy as it might sound. What's very important is to be able to, seamlessly integrate the intelligence of the cloud part of the system with the intelligence of the smart edge. And we have adopted at IoT 83 the Flex 83 solution to build on the cloud and deploy on the edge. And we're going to show you how that works in our demonstration today. So if you look at the old way to build smart edge solutions versus the new way to build with Flex 83, you can see a lot of difference. The complexity of sort of roll your own from a smart edge deployment perspective is significant. Set up the edge device, choose a tech stack. This is a major issue here, trying to establish exactly what you need. Construct the smart edge application, set up the application containers, add container management, add a monitoring layer, create smart edge lifecycle, interwork with cloud management logic, launch and manage the application today, to say nothing of managing lifecycle, etc. The new way that we're going to demonstrate here shortly is far more streamlined, intuitive, and flexible, where it's as simple as setting up an edge agent on the device and then following the low-code methodologies that we're going to demonstrate to you now, all to deliver this distributed intelligence between a smart cloud that can manage the scale and life cycle of your systems with big data analytics, et cetera, with the intelligent edge solutions that are highly flexible and adaptable. So with that, I want to hand it over to our VP of Engineering, Jayant Puri, to take you through this actual smart edge, smart cloud convergence demonstration. Nishant, can you hand it over to JP?
Yes, JP, you have the presentation rights.
Well, thanks, Lee. Thanks for such a great introduction. Let me just start sharing, and there I go. So, all right, can you see my screen, guys? Nishan, just confirm if it's visible.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we're good.
All right. So hello everyone. I'm Jayant, and I'll be taking you through the journey of how easy it is to create or manage appliances on the edge using the Flex 83 solution. So before that, I'll just give you a glimpse of our platform. So there is a lot that we can discuss here, but we'll just directly dive into the main highlight of today, which is basically the edge tools that we have. So basically what happens is when you start thinking about edge, it's like it's kind of difficult to imagine that how will the applications be launched on the edge, how will things work on the edge, how are the different applications that have different level of complexities managed and stuff like that. So coming back to the PowerPoint, we have made it really simple. It's just that we have an agent which does all the work for you. This agent sits on the edge device, talks to the Flex 83 cloud, and does all the work for you. It is as easy as just running a few commands on your edge device and getting the agent ready to start taking actions on the commands that you invoke from the cloud. So that's the screen that you see here is basically how easy it is to just the commands can be copy pasted and just put it on the terminal, and the agent gets installed. Moving to the next part, this is the screen that I'll be taking. So all that I'm showing here in the PPT, I'll be just explaining it on the portal, but just to kind of get the things kind of brushed up. So for this demo, I have used my laptop, which is nothing but a Ubuntu based machine, and I've used this laptop as my edge agent, and I'll be configuring the edge manager. So the agent gets installed. Now it's time to install the edge manager. The edge manager is the heart of the whole system. Now this edge manager has a unique, so we've added a unique concept here in which this edge manager that you see here can be exposed publicly. So this can be exposed publicly, and the advantage that you get is even if you do not have access to the edge device, you can configure and manage and control the life cycle of the applications that are deployed on your edge device. So that's a really nice feature that we have added here. So this is how, this is the actual, the process that you go through when you are actually exposing your edge manager to the internet for managing. And that's not something which is required in case of security concerns, or in case you do not want to expose it. You just disable this endpoint, and then everything that you, so the manager basically is available, locally, and you cannot access it over the internet. So basically that's an option that has been given to the end user. Now the screen that you see here is the actual, that's the screen of the edge manager, which was installed, as you can see from the URL. And you can see these are the menu items of the edge manager, where my home laptop, which was my edge device, is being displayed here, and this is basically managed by the manager. Now you can see here we have 2 containers running, you have 9 volumes, 8 images. So everything shown here will be discussed in detail. And just for like a drill down view, I've just displayed here the containers that are currently running on the edge device. Comes bundled along with the manager is a very detailed marketplace, where you can just pick and choose softwares. And you have never thought of, it would be so easy to install MySQL in just 2 clicks. So everything behind the scene, the complexity of installing these applications is hidden, and it's just clicks away. Anything that you want. So this is not the complete image. We have a lot of applications that we provide bundled with the manager, and those can be installed by just doing clicks. You don't have to worry about the configuration, you don't have to worry about the ports. Everything is already done for you. So imagine if you have an application which is, suppose, a small application which has a front end, a back end, and a database. So all these 3 applications can be easily bundled together. And as Lee showed in the diagram, showed in the PPT, where you have to, if you go the traditional way, you have to choose the stack, you have to build the stack, and finally you build the application. Here you are just kind of picking as if it were just displayed in some supermarket. Moving ahead, the most popular registry, which is basically the registry for hosting Docker images, is by far Docker Hub, that we provide as integrated here. And that can be, you can add credentials here. And not only Docker Hub, in case you have a taste for a different registry, or in case you want to host your own registry, for that also options are available. We have integrations with all of these. And in case you have your own custom registry, which is actually residing on your intranet, not on the internet, that is also an option which is available in this edge manager. You can go ahead, host your registry, and you can get going. You can add as many images as you want. Next, the manager allows you to actually set up your own network. For example, you may have different containers running, or you may have a requirement in which you want to segregate the middleware from the database layer in an edge appliance. Now that is also possible, where you can go ahead and define your networks and specify that. So anything you can think of from the infra level or from the application level is all basically done by the edge manager freehand. You just need to configure your way through it. This is how you can kind of add volumes. Now volumes are nothing but the mount points where the data resides, in case you have data to be stored on the Docker container or inside the Docker container. This is how you can add as many images, as many volumes as you want. And then the best option is you can actually change ownerships, that which images are only accessible to the admin accounts, and which volumes are accessible to the user accounts. So all the access control and management is all already embedded inside the edge manager. Now, not only Docker images, right? You could say that, what if I have my own YAML files, if I have my own Docker Compose files, and I want to launch a stack? Well, we have an editor for you. If you place, or if you kind of, put the contents correctly, the system will automatically pick this compose file and create the whole stack for you. So for this demonstration, I have created 2 stacks that I'll be showing shortly. And not only if suppose that your YAML file is sitting in a Git repository and you don't want to kind of give the sources over here, you can configure a Git repository and just directly pull in the compose file from there. Or if you have it on the local, you can just pick it from there. So anything you can think of from the point of view of a YAML file which can launch a stack is available here. Moving ahead, there can be an option where you actually want to launch a complete stack, or you may want to launch a swarm stack. You may want to actually launch your own templates. Here in this, the registry that I showed you, or the marketplace that I showed you, you can add your own applications. Now, quick example would be, let's suppose that you have already those listed applications or components like MongoDB, MariaDB, MySQL. What if you have a small application that is nothing but a Docker container or Docker image that you want people to consume, that you want your customers to consume? Now you just go there, create a template. As the heading says, you can create your own application and service templates. You create a template, and then that application is available to all your customers in just 2 clicks. So the complexity behind the scene is all taken away, because now that application is just listed as if it were a normal application or a normal a component like Mongo or MySQL, which is already packed in, because the packing and the launching is all taken care by the Edge Manager. This was a sample example, like I just kind of installed Nginx, and this is how it was very easy to launch Nginx and just run it. And if you notice this here, I can select my own ports which I want, and behind the scene on the container, different ports were exposed. So now, again, to just reiterate the fact that how easy it is to build application on the appliance using the Flex83 stack, which is the cloud and edge stack, is really simple, and it takes away all the complexities from you, and you are just left with the problem of deciding which application you want to run, and you just need to figure out on which gateway. For example, if it were a multi-tech gateway which supports around 4 gigs of RAM, you know that the device is already there. All you need is just install the agent and get going. So I will switch gears from here and quickly take you through the actual flow. So this was the first screen that I had. So this is my laptop, which is nothing but an edge agent, and it shows that okay, the system is kind of consuming this much memory, and this is the amount of disk that is used. I go ahead and I configured basically. So this is something that I did pre to this demo. So this Edge Manager was already configured, and this was exposed on the public port. Because of that, I can access the Edge Manager over here. Now, if you see the left menu, this is the Edge Manager, which gives you a plethora of options that you can do here. And this is the edge. This is the device, or this is the appliance that this guy is controlling. Now, if I go inside this, you can actually see that that's my system. That is the memory that it has. And in your case, basically, if it were less memory, you just need to be cognizant that okay, if you have a smaller appliance, which are the applications that are most important from your standpoint, those are the ones you'll be installing. So here I have installed 2 stacks. I have 16 images, 20 volumes, and whatnot. Just to take you through the real flow, these are the 2 stacks that I launched. I launched a Grafana stack, I launched a WordPress stack. Now, if you see here, the number of containers that are running, this is like managing the containers was never so easy. I launched a Node-RED instance, and all it took was I went to the app templates. That's Node-RED. 1 click, give it a name, 2 clicks. That's done. So technically speaking, if your use case, which anyways in IoT you would be using, you would be using components like Node-RED, you would be using components like MQTT. So all these things are necessary when it comes to launching applications on the edge. Now, if you are actually working on kind of getting Node-RED launched, and you are working on getting MQTT launched, the time that you would actually invest, or the money you would actually invest in building the application, would keep on increasing. But whereas here, once everything is a click away, you are actually not bothered about the components that you need. You are actually bothered about the end application or the business logic you need. So that is the complexity that we take away from you, so that you can actually focus on the real business case, and not worry about the peripheral installations, if you will. Now, coming back to the containers. Now, this is this is the view which gives you an insight on the number of containers that are running. Getting insights on the container, getting the logs of that container. So it's, I mean, like everything that you see here, I'm just kind of clicking my way through. you know Getting the stats of the container, what is the CPU, what is the memory, what is the network it's using. You can set up the refresh rate, you know removing a container, pausing a container, editing a container, changing ownership. Everything that you can think of managing a life cycle of a container is available here. And when I am doing this, what I'm actually going to show you is I would be doing a VNC to my actual machine. So now that's my Linux machine, which is basically acting as an appliance for this demo. Now these are all the real containers that are running here, and all these containers are being managed by this manager. As I showed you, you can set up any registries that you want. There are a lot of registries. You can set up users. There is authentication which is available. You can have LDAP based authentications. You can have OAuth based authentications. You can create teams. You can create roles. You have lots of settings that you can manage. You can specify that who has access to what. There are lots of things that you can do here. You can set up your own networks. You can set up your own stacks. So I'll just give you an example of a stack here. I launched a WordPress. I mean, can you even think of a WordPress stack being launched in 2 clicks? It really feels so, it really feels cumbersome when we talk to customers. They really feel that it's a lot difficult to launch a WordPress, to basically host a website, build a website and create that. I mean, just to showcase the complexity. I mean, in real life, no one will launch a WordPress on an edge device, but just to give a glimpse of the complexity that exists and the ease that this piece brings to the whole picture is demonstrated when I just take you through this. This is how I just launched a WordPress. So if I were to just go here and say WP admin, there you go. And launching this was never so simple. And all we did was we just kind of went there, and that's what we did. And everything is being managed by this guy. So anything you can manage your complete appliance from this. And not only this, you can actually see the logs of the manager from this. Now basically, this is like two-step process. This manager is managing the applications, and the Flex 83 is managing the manager. Now this is the entry point, as we said in the beginning. You start managing from here, and then once you are done, you can view the logs, that what exactly is happening behind the scenes. So yeah, there you got the logs. So there are heartbeats that are happening. So see, if this guy is doing something behind the scene, it's pulling something, it's downloading something, everything is getting started and deleted. So this is all happening behind the scene, and that's basically the abstraction that we have done, where we have taken away the complexity and made it simple for the users. Again, I can kind of go on talking about this, but I don't know, I mean, if I'm running out of time. This is again another example of an application where we just kind of launched a Grafana dashboard. I think from a standpoint that you have a small application to build, where you need to stand up your MQTT server, a Node-RED server, and finally dump data in the local database. And finally, once the local database is being used, you may want to send something up to the cloud. Now you may want to basically use the power of the appliance, like use the CPU of the appliance to do all the processing on the edge, and then finally send some final summary information to the cloud. Now these are 3 applications that I just launched. If you see this is actually connected to a broker, and that's the broker that we have. So on using 2 clicks, I launched Node-RED, I stood up a broker, I connected that guy, and then I'm ready to just build my application. I can just work my way through all these nodes and start dragging and dropping anything that I want. Now that's basically how easy it is to launch services using Edge Manager. Touching one more point that I would want to, like, some of you may have questions that what if we do not want to expose this guy to the external world? It's really simple. If you do not want to expose this, all you do is you do not basically click this option. You say, okay, I don't want to expose the DNS, and you do not get that option. If you enable this, you get a service URL. If you disable this, you do not get that option. And if this is chosen, then what happens is you manage your appliance in this fashion. So now this Edge Manager is accessible on the local host or within the network. So if there is a concern that you don't want to expose the edge manager, this is the way you take. Again, it's the same thing. What I'm just trying to show is that this is available over the internet, so that I, sitting miles apart, can manage my device, manage the life cycle of my application, whereas this, I'm actually physically sitting in front of the device. So both the options are available and are given to the users, so that they do not kind of feel constrained that if it were to be controlled remotely, then how it is to be done, and if it were to be controlled physically, then how it's to be done. And, yeah, so again, reiterating the point that it's really easy to use Flex buckled up with the Edge Manager to start launching your applications really soon. Whether you have a Docker image on your local, whether you have a Docker image which is sitting in some registry, whether you have it, whether you actually want to build it, everything is available. So once you start using this, or once you land on the Edge Manager, then there is nothing that would take you away, because there it is, the whole heart of the system lies where you are actually building the applications and managing it at the same time. So with this, I would like to hand over the stage back to Nishant, so that he can just conclude. Thanks,
Yes,
everyone.
thanks a lot, Jen, for the demonstration. And while we are on the and while you have shared the screen, you still want to take 5 minutes to kind of show the analytics piece as well. And just to give you an idea, so this platform from which Jen is controlling all that, his edge device, this platform is running on our data center. It is running on HP DL series servers Gen 9, and then it's running on Dell servers, and it could be running on any of the public cloud or customer cloud or private cloud, whatever it may be, or customer data center, even as a air gapped solution in some oil rigs. So this platform is multi-cloud, it's cloud agnostic. So Jayant, if you'd want to just show some of the key highlights about AI and ML and something that's just the takeaway for this. And from
Sure.
here,
I think what I'll do is, since I've covered the edge part of it, I would just kind of try to compare it with the cloud part of it, that in case the same thing needs to be done on the cloud, how you do it. And for that, what I'll do is I'll take the example of this guy, which is Node-RED, to demonstrate that the same thing, how it can be done on the cloud. So here again, we have this component which we call as the registry. So the components would be similar. I mean, you would hear me using the same words again. But again, in the cloud space, we again ask for a registry, because there is where the game starts is you need to have a Docker registry. And when it comes, then we have what we call as the marketplace. So we had an edge marketplace over there, which I showed you on the templates. So this was the edge marketplace. Now we are talking about the cloud marketplace. So here the addition, or the thing that that would actually interest you, is that we have an option of a code server. Now for developers who just want to start developing their way through, what we give you is a code server. And when we say code server, it's just an instance that you get. So if I were to just say my coding env, and I say, okay, let's just put it as jp code, and then I just put a login password saying hello at 123. I will take a few minutes till the time it gets launched. We can move back and give it a moment to launch, and we can talk about the service part of it. Now, likewise, we did here when we said we launch containers and we launch stacks. Something very similar we do here. When we say launch a service, what we say is, when launching a service means you give a service name, you tell whether the service needs to be exposed to the public internet or not. You define which port it is. Again, the same thing, right? You define the number of replicas you want. Give us information about the disk. Give us information about the resources that this service would need, how much memory, how much CPU. Specify any environment variables that you might have. Give us the Docker image. Now, here you can have two things. In case it's an application which is open to public and you want to just pick up a public image, there you go. You don't need any credentials. If you have your own hosted registry, then just pick that up. Whatever you have configured here, the system will start picking up, since I've already added my Flex registry. So it just starts picking up the images. Uh, I can just pick up any image and I can just select that tag of the image. So let me just say I pick up this, I pick up the tag, and I put a service name as demo application, and I say my demo app, and I'll just hit save. Okay, my bad. All right. Meanwhile, once this is happening behind the scene, let's go and check what happened with the code server. So there we go. There it is. Now it has given me a vault where I can just say login and boom. For the people on the call who are developers, this might look very familiar. Give it a second. All right. All right. Do you see this? Does it look familiar? Well, it does. It's basically the visual code in the cloud. Now, everything that you can think of, right? You can think of, you have a terminal. Well, you have a terminal and also you have Python. There you go. I mean, there is no need of, actually, there is no need of, developers having laptops. You can just give them Raspberry Pis, give them a good internet connection, and there you go. They can start developing the code right there. So it's basically, we are trying to say that, whatever you want, whatever is your use case, if you want to write code, come here, write your code. Now, you can basically club these two. Let's suppose you have an application for which you want to write code. You write your code here, build the Docker image, take it to the edge. Now, that's a valid use case because what you're doing here is you're writing some code that would ultimately run on an appliance, because for writing a code, you need an editor. For launching an application, you need a Docker image, and that Docker image can be easily launched here because we support registries. So your journey from cloud to edge and edge to cloud, we have kind of made it interwoven so that you really do not feel the difference except for the size that is available. In cloud, everything is infinite. In the edge, things are restricted in terms of resources. That is the only difference. What we are trying to project here, that it's no different. I mean, the journey from cloud to edge and edge to cloud is really it's a two-way, and it's really made very simple. Coming back to services.
Jan, if I might interject,
Yep,
earlier
yep.
in the presentation, we were talking about build on the cloud, deploy on the edge. So one of the things we see as being very practical and pragmatic is you've already got the telemetry information from your edge devices coming to the cloud. And so you can do exactly what JP just did to build an application in the cloud, validate it in the cloud, and say, okay, this is perfect. Now I want to be able to push this application to the edge. So that's when we talk about build on the cloud, deploy on the edge, we're able to leverage all of the simplicity and integration of the tools and capabilities that we have in the cloud, and then use this edge management solution to push those powerful solutions down to the smart edge devices.
And then Lee, if you can also touch on what kind of edge devices, or there are any constraints. Is it just specific to Raspberry Pi or Jetson Nano or ARM-based devices, or the platform is capable of handling? It could be any edge device. So if you can touch on those as well, I think
Yeah, so it's extremely flexible in terms of what types of edge devices we can use for the Dockerization or the containerization. We really need to have about 2 gig of memory for this complete solution. However, we also can work with more constrained devices where we're using the edge agent and doing more limited functionality. But the edge management capabilities and lifecycle management capabilities are still present. You just have a more constrained operating environment in the edge device, and so you have to be more cautious about the amount of resources that you utilize. JP, do you have any comments on that?
I think absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think I was just showing this, that I launched a demo application, and there you go. That's the application that launched. So since I already had the code and I already had the image, so now taking this Docker image either here or here is a matter of clicks. You want this application to be deployed on the edge, take it here. You want this application to remain in the cloud, just use this way. So there is just, it's just a few centimeters of difference from here to here. You move your way here, you're taken here, and your journey is basically made really simple.
Okay, so Lee, by that we may conclude that the platform is capable of handling any of the use cases of Industry 4.0 when it comes to big data handling, build in cloud, deploy in edge, or machine vision capabilities. So if you'd like to touch on those points as well.
Yeah, so we as we were mentioning earlier in the PowerPoint, we don't really, this platform is built for horizontal utilization that could be used for energy management applications, smart city, environmental control, manufacturing 4.0, transportation applications, networking applications, and many more. Our experience has been to work across these different vertical markets, and in doing so, we've found certain design patterns that we've focused on in terms of our low code and no code application enablement solutions. And so it doesn't make any difference whether you're focused on energy management, smart city, manufacturing 4.0, et cetera. And given the flexibility and the marketplace that we've built into this smart edge application creation and smart edge management solution, there's really no limit to what you can create. And as JP said, the what this allows you to do is to focus only on the value that you're trying to create, the application logic that you're trying to create, as opposed to the underlying infrastructure. This solution gives you the application enablement platform in the cloud to use low code and no code methodologies to easily build smart systems in the cloud, and then to coordinate that intelligence with applications that you deploy on the edge. And then to manage the life cycle of those applications. So say, for example, you've built an application, it's doing a great job, but you have some new edge devices that need unique treatment, or you have some new sensors that need to be regularly calibrated, or any number of different unique circumstances that change in the life cycle of your application. With this solution, you can easily make modifications to the way your edge intelligent application works, and then update those applications across all of your edge devices in a very controllable and uniform way. So the diversity that we're handling here is very rich.
Okay, so I think we are done with most of the questions as well, and then probably we do have a sign up version of this. It's a SaaS system. You can just come onto the website IoT83. There's a sign up button. Feel free to sign up. It's a 1 month free trial. If you'd want to like your engineering teams or your developers to just get their hands dirty on this, and we'd be able to support you in every sense. And also post this webinar, if you'd want to have a one-to-one meeting, just feel free to shoot an email or just fill in the contact us form. We may have the contact information, we can reach out to you. But then, yeah, in case if there's anything specific while we kind of start reaching to everyone, if you can just go ahead and shoot an email to either Lee or just the contact us at iot83.com, we would be responsive on that as well.
Excellent.
So Lee, any
Excellent. Nisha, can you, if you could pass the ball back to me for the conclusion?
Exactly, I'm just doing it. So
Can you
Lee,
see my screen?
yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, so to summarize, IoT83's application enablement platform provides you with dramatic improvements in cost, risk, and time to market for building powerful IoT and digital transformation solutions. And with our Smart Edge application creation and Smart Edge management tools, you can now easily build out your own custom cloud Smart Edge intelligence solutions. So we really look forward to engaging with you on this. As Nishant said, reach out to us, give us a ring. We're always looking forward to hearing from you, and we'd love to give you a personal walkthrough of our platform and discuss how we can help you with your particular IoT or digital transformation solutions. So again, thank you all for attending, and please do knock on our door, because we look forward to working with you all.